Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Obsessed Turf, man. We're trying to crank these videos out. What's crazy is that I'm trying to keep up with getting these videos edited. It's got tons of content, but it's just crazy. Anyway, we are out in the yard. The spring rush really has us out here doing a lot of stuff. The novelty is there, right? Because we've been locked up all winter. We're anxious to get out here and do things. And I can tell you over the years, it's really something that I've learned as far as what to do and in what order to achieve my preferences, right? But today we're going out into the yard for biological activation. What is that? Well, it's basically these two things here, humic acid and kelp. And so we're going to be applying this at about 2 ounces per thousand each in my backpack sprayer so that I can spray that on the lawn. It's kind of windy today, so we'll keep the wand close to the soil, and I'll probably also use this, and this is a brass tip compared to the conical tip, the dual cone tip that I usually use, which that's kind of my favorite because it really has good coverage for foliar applications. But today we're really about the soil. So why am I doing this? First of all, it's the exception, not the rule. My situation is I'm playing the long game here. I'm really focusing on getting my soil amendments done to the way that I can actually have strong future reliability and in response to future work on the lawn itself. And that has a lot to do with how the nutrients move through the soil. Based on some soil tests that I've been doing, I've had some situations where I think particular nutrients are getting locked up in the soil. And I think that has to do with some imbalances that I'm dealing with. Nothing major, but it's things that I am constantly checking and testing through soil tests to try to figure out how those things work. At the end of the day, though, guys, I don't think you have to get carried away with soil tests. In fact, the last soil test I did one in 2024 and 2025, and now I am probably going to wait until probably 2027 to do my next one in the fall. So what should you do? Again, as I mentioned, I am playing the long game when it comes to addressing my soil. I think for the average person, if you're really not trying to get really into addressing soil corrections, then I would say that just go with a standard fertilizer, whatever that, if it's a Scott's or maybe you're just putting down some standard fertilizer, that's really going to be what you want to do. What's nice about this biological stimulation is that it will create, because of the kelp, it's going to give me a little bit of a green up without top growth. So I'm going to manage to continue to get the response in the lawn that I want without nitrogen in the beginning. But as I watch, I've got density and I've got color right now, so I'm good. But if I start to see any sort of fading in the color, then I can apply some nitrogen fertilizer. But I'm just going to kind of play it by ear, watch the lawn, control that top growth, especially before we get into those warmer months where the density of the lawn can create a lot more chances of the fungus and disease and things like that. So I'm really trying to keep all of this in control. So fertilizer, mow often, and you guys will be in really good shape. But back to what we're doing today. So again, we're going to do the biological activation with these two nutrients. But before we do that, I'm going to go out and take care of some patches in the lawn. Now is the time for me to do this because, number one, the forecast is showing some pretty consistent rain here over the next 2 weeks. Also, the temperatures are at the level where I think that I can have some good germination rates going with my grass seed. So everything is kind of in alignment with that. So I'm going to show you what I do for my bare patches and how I reseed areas that need to have more grass established. So that's the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take you out into the lawn and actually reseed a bare spot so that you can see my method and all the reasons why I think it's given me really good results and why maybe you should try it too. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just take care of any existing weeds that I may have here and there. I've noticed some that are here and there that probably germinated before I got my pre-emergent down. So I'm going to take care of just a few weeds that I've noticed throughout the lawn with some post-emergent, and then that'll be the day. So on overseed, do a biological activation and stimulation, and then we'll go ahead and address any post-emergent weeds. So let's go out into the yard and show you what I do on bare patches. All right, guys, so we've got the bare patch here. We've got some other ones that we're going to take care of, but I'll just show you what I'm doing on this one spot. Very first thing that you need to have is something to break up the soil. This is kind of a pretty easy process when you have the right tools, right? This is a garden weasel. It's a ground cultivator. Has these tines that are going to be really good for breaking up the soil. We're going to cultivate the soil first. Then we're going to mix in some Scott's lawn soil. And as you can see, this says grows grass up to 50% thicker. So it's fortified with nutrients already to really help with the establishment of the germination of the seed. And then this is the seed that I have, that if you watched my video from last fall on the fall renovation, this is a combination of Seed Superstore Sunny Shade Mix, or Sunny Mixture I should say, and then Blue Resilience. Really, really good combination. It ends up being about 65% turf type tall fescue, 35% Kentucky bluegrass. Apologize for the wind if you're hearing that. I've got it under mic under my shirt, so hopefully you don't hear it. So let's zoom in on the bare patch and I'll show you the process that I use. All right, guys, so just like I said before, we're going to get the soil broken up. Now, I did apply prodiamine to or pre-emergent to my lawn already. What this has done is created a barrier of pre-emergent on my lawn to stop weed germination, which will also affect grass seed germination. I skipped this area. However, there are some other bare patches in my lawn that did not get skipped. I did that intentionally because I'm going to test a theory here to see if treated, broken up soil that's amended with non-treated soil, if that will actually give us some sort of germination beyond the pre-emergent that we put on the soil. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that turns out. I'll keep you guys posted in future videos. But on this, you do not need much at all. You want to keep it at about 1/4 of an inch. And what we'll do is we'll work this into the soil so that we can actually get that mixed in with the soil itself, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so now that we have that Scott's lawn soil all mixed up nice into the existing soil, we'll now sprinkle our grass seed on here. Now, as far as storing grass seed, as I mentioned, I used this grass seed back in the fall. So this grass seed is about, I don't know, 6 months old or so. Keep it in a cool, dry space and it'll extend the life. That goes for all of your stuff. I see people that keep like, you know, that humic acid that I just had and the sea kelp. I see people store that stuff in their garages, and the temperature swings that you'll have in your garage are way, way too harsh on these things. You know, keep in mind, this stuff it's like living organisms, right? And you don't want to expose that stuff to extreme hot and cold and temperature swings like that. Keep it in a cool, dark place. I keep mine in my basement, and that works out really well. So if those of you have a basement, that's a great place to store your products and your seed. All right, so now that we've got the seed down, we're going to go ahead and cultivate this in. 2 things this will do. Number 1, it will get the seed to soil contact better. And also, number 2, it will keep the birds from getting to it. This removes the need of you having to add peat moss on top. I'm not a big fan of peat moss because it dries out extremely easily. And the other thing is that the birds can get to it a little easier when you have peat moss, simply because, you know, it's lighter and it kind of gets to it, and it's not soil per se, right? But as you can see, this is actually just working that seed, and I'm doing this very lightly, but I'm working that seed until I really don't see much of the seed anymore. And then we've got one more step after that, and that is to create or to eliminate airspace. 2 things that happen when this is all fluffed up like this is that it breathes easier. You don't want that. You want to seal it up a little bit better so that it's less prone to drying out, and it will increase the seed to soil contact by tamping this down. So just take your foot and slightly tamp that down, and you're going to see that there's a little bit of seed exposure still, but That's in great shape. That looks really good. And that's all I do, guys, literally. So I'll spray that down. After I get all these done, I would just go ahead and get a little bit of water on there, and then we'll be good. And the other thing that's really nice about this is that because this is tamped down, the ground is still quite saturated with moisture. Based on my experience of doing soil tests in the past, this soil will stay really, really damp for probably another 6 weeks. And that's perfect for this because it'll keep the ground moist, and the fact that it's tamped down, it will be able to continue to wick moisture from the surrounding soil and just increase the chances of germination. So really good setup. This works really well for me, and we'll go ahead and wet that down. And so that's it, guys. I won't bore you with all the other details. I'm sure you know, just spraying down some kelp and humic acid onto the lawn and then spraying for weeds is not really fun. So I won't bore you with that stuff, but I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about any of the things that I'm doing, you know, feel free to reach out in the comments. Shoot me an email. I've got email in the description below as well. But, you know, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming in and following me on my journey. It's been really fun. I mean, I'm already obsessed with this, but to bring you guys in on the journey has been very nice. I appreciate all the feedback that you guys have been giving me and sharing the stories that you're dealing with. But thanks again anyways, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.